Hello gentlemen, this is CS MGTOW. Sorry for the delay in posting new content. I've been very busy, and I also had a bit of a skiing holiday as well. I wanted to put out a very short video. This isn't going to be indicative of the kind of content that I'm going to be putting out over the next month or so, which are of course going to be far more theoretical. I have 6 or 7 videos in the works, so please do bear with me. I've noticed a rather absurd trend in a number of books and online videos recently by traditionalist conservative types, and what they're attempting to do is to rebrand and repackage traditionalism as some kind of fun and enjoyable activity, an activity that all men should actively seek out. And what these guys are doing is that they're releasing a number of books, and they're going all out to portray fatherhood as enjoyable and good for you. As most fathers, including myself, will confess, fatherhood on the whole is anything but fun. It's expensive, it's hard work, and it's an activity that should be avoided like the plague if you value your financial and emotional well-being. A well-known pundit in the centre-right circles, Jim Geraghty, has released a book titled Heavy Lifting: Grow Up, Get a Job, Raise a Family, and Other Manly Advice. What's different about this particular Man Up book is the actual absence of finger wagging. So these guys realize that this doesn't work with a modern male. No amount of shaming will get a guy who's convinced that marriage is a bad deal to change his mind. Shaming, in fact, will likely entrench his beliefs. What Jim and his ilk are now resorting to is far more insidious, and that is to sell traditionalism as fun. A friend of mine basically received an email about the book. He's a member of a book recommendation website, and he forwarded the email in question to me. The email's headline, and I've put the actual screenshot of the email on screen, was "What's Wrong with the Young Men Today?" And it went on to say too many 20 and 30-something men are living in a stage of extended adolescence. They're playing video games and playing the field, unwilling to settle down for a serious career or serious relationship. The very things that men used to ambitiously pursue, marriage and kids, forget about it. Today's young men act like becoming a dad might as well be a prison sentence. So in their book, Heavy Lifting, Jim and Cam Edwards let their younger peers into a secret, apparently. So they basically say, look, growing up and starting a family is actually the most fun a guy could have, with laugh-out-loud stories from their own rocky paths to adulthood. Geraghty and Edwards give their readers some much-needed man-to-man advice about landing good jobs, surviving weddings, navigating marital fights, being a strong father figure, managing home repairs, and more. I just find it extraordinary. These guys are selling the virtues of slavery, and I expect that this repackaging of traditionalism will pick up pace over the next couple of years. Expect to see a myriad of content on YouTube, print and television, where fathers are now celebrated and no longer mocked and derided. Something that immediately came to my mind when I read the email that my friend sent me was, if growing up, quote unquote, and abandoning leisure, peace, and video games was such a good deal, why would one need these people to sell the idea to us? Look around at you, at the fathers in these traditionalist setups. How many of them have their health? How many of them seem genuinely happy? How many of them seem well-rested and content? How many of them are in positive financial places? How many of them are not chronically stressed? Another book that has been launched around this kind of topic in 2015 is by P.J. O'Rourke and Johan Goldberg, titled The Dadly Virtues: Adventures from the Worst Job You'll Ever Love. And this book attempts to portray fatherhood as something so inherently wonderful that only the downright insane would avoid it. They dedicate chapters to youthful mischief that involves bottle rockets and potato guns, and the dreaded parental talk about the birds and the bees. How about these men describe the real state of fatherhood these days? Arguing with a crazy ex-wife, having restricted access to your children after a brutal 4-year divorce battle, being arrested after she calls the police on the advice of her divorce lawyer. The authors even staged a media get-together to promote their book. About 12 minutes in, one of the panelists explains his reasons for not having children, and it's actually well worth a watch, and I've posted the link in the description bar.
Those are kind of soft stories, I think. As has been mentioned 10 times here, I do not have any kids. That is because I love money. And I suspect that at some point, in your heart of hearts, you're looking at this thing and thinking, you little brat, you owe me $1 million. So what I'd like to ask is...
it's my first wife.
Well, since you spoke up, PJ, what is your most shameful moment as a parent?
Most fathers that I know in these traditionalists, quote, grown up, unquote, relationships are absolutely fucking miserable. They want divorces. They're not happy. And any fun they might have once enjoyed vanished long after the honeymoon period. These traditional relationships are a graveyard where men go to die after all hope has been abandoned. In fact, many of the happiest, most content and financially stable men that I know either refused to marry or divorced early and worked hard on staying single. So please don't fall for this repackaging of slavery. Traditionalists are panicking en masse as women are complaining quite vocally about the absence of, quote, real men, unquote, who want to settle down. There is absolutely a man shortage now. And of course, being the white knights that they are, these tradcons will do the modern day version of a press gang and attempt to persuade or bully men back in line. Their attempts suggest that being in a relationship, providing for a family and manning up are fun activities. Well, that's absolutely pathetic. Look back at your father. Did he ever look happy? Did he ever have time for his hobbies? Thank you very, very much. This is CS MGTOW.